You know, when I first started working with the England team, I had no doubt we had a fantastic group of players, just a brilliant group of players. But really nothing had changed a great deal in the England setup from when I was playing. When you saw me in that opening video running around at Twickenham all those years ago with long hair, we were still ranked 6th in the world. And to me, the biggest thing that had to change was the mindset of a whole team, a whole group of players, almost a whole generation of players.
I've kind of tried to define this over the years, especially when you move into the England coaching job I did in '97. I was determined to run it as a business. But number one priority was everybody playing for England was going to enjoy themselves.
Enjoyment isn't having a few beers or going down the pubs or having a laugh. And the enjoyment from the England camp was definitely, number one, was they wanted to be at the cutting edge of world sport. Not of world rugby, but of world sport. When they came to the England camp, they wanted to see things differently. They were prepared to take risks, as long as we were trying to move things forward. That is how they defined enjoyment.
You know, the number one thing, if we could go to the World Cup as number one ranked team in the world, that was the goal. Because if you can do that over a 4-year period, you've obviously done everything right to get there. Businesses tend to hugely over-exaggerate what you can do in 12 months, you know, when you're setting your forecasts and your targets. Businesses totally under-exaggerate, if that's the right word, what you can achieve in 3 or 4 years. I mean, 4 years is a long time. You can change the world in 4 years. And we really sat down after '99, where we had a poor World Cup, and just threw out all the blueprints and started again and wrote this business plan for 4 years on how we could win the World Cup, and just left no stone unturned.
Because I do actually think sport has a huge amount to learn from business. It's interesting that the business community seems to have a huge fascination with sport. Whenever a sports team does well or an individual does well, everyone's clamoring to find out all about it. My mindset has always been completely the opposite, because of my business background. I think sport has a huge amount to learn with business.
I just think fundamentally football has to change in terms of the way it's being run, the way it's being coached. Because if you go back to the Brazilian thing, you know, the way my mind works is that, you know, people say to me, "Oh, yeah, Brazil are favourite. You know, they've got you know 11 fantastic players." You know, yeah. So I immediately go. My immediate thing is why.
There was this dentist up in Brisbane called Dr. Paddy Lund. He decided to commit suicide. True story. Clearly, because he was unhappy being a dentist and working in his practice. He actually went to the bridge in Brisbane, and he was going to jump off it. At the very last minute, he decided not to. And he decided to go back to his surgery and just rethink his business through. This is the very first thing he did, which I guess everyone in the room could probably relate to. He sat down at his PC, this guy, Dr. Paddy Lund, and he deleted 95% of his patients, of his clients. Everybody he didn't like, everybody ever given him a hard time, anybody ever been late, zapped him off his PC. Before he did that, he wrote them all a letter, an individual personal letter to their home, these 95% of his customers. Dear Neil, dear Clive, dear Jane, dear Sue, individual letters. Because of you, I was going to commit suicide. Quite a strong letter to get from your dentist. England did have the ability to become the best team in the world, and that wasn't bravado or passion speaking. That was just common business sense. The reason being, one, we have more players than any other country in the world. Two, we have more revenue, more money in the sport than any other country in the world. And I passionately believe in this part of the world, we had all the expertise in terms of management, coaching, medical, psychology, and everything else. So why and how were we still ranked 6th, like we were when I played, like we were 100 years ago when the game first started?
I think motivation is a word that's bandied around too much, and if you actually follow sport closely, when teams win, the coach is a great motivator. When they lose by a point, you know, he's rubbish. It's just one of those black and white things. I just think motivation is all tied up what I've been talking about. You know, creating the environment, creating the detail, getting the right team, the right players, all the right staff.
I just think of a room like this, but I think of it completely white. And I just, in my mind, I remove everything from that room. Every bit of software, every bit of hardware, every idea, every preconceived way of we've always done it. Completely blank the room out.
And then only start to bring back the things you have to do. So some things you have to do, you can't possibly change that, you know. Like, there's got to be 11 players on the pitch, we can't change that. So, you bring back the things you cannot possibly change. I try to change that. That's a bad example.
The key thing about this, and this is the biggest praise, well, one of the many praises I put on the England players who I worked with, is that once you get everyone thinking like this, most, if not all, the ideas and the concept come from your team.
Clive is available to talk on several topics, including building a winning team, designing a winning profile, developing a winning environment, creating a winning mindset, and engineering winning from setbacks. These are simply a flavour of the topics available, and Clive is happy to tailor each of his talks to your particular company or event in order to make it truly individual.